This is the Fight Night Podcast. I'm Sergio.
I'm Eli.
I'm Aaron.
And we're covering UFC Jan versus Figueiredo, starting with Olberg versus Uzdemir, Jan Jalnan versus Tabitha Ricci, and Figueiredo versus Jan. Uzdemir versus Olberg. How do we think that's going to go, guys?
I don't say a huge fan of the New Zealanders, but I think this is tailor made for him to win and get further up the rankings. And I really liked the Alonzo Menifield fight. I think that was a huge test for him, especially after Alonzo's rematch where he absolutely just dominated. He looked like he was going to be on a tear, and then he just got starched like everyone else does. And I think he's too fast in and out, and he's had that loss. He was supposed to be that guy, and he lost literally immediately. And then it's kind of like when the up and comer finally gets that humble. We got the humbling so early on, and I think that really helped him carry off to the absolute finish streak that he's on now. I think he's going to carry that confidence, and very much so. It's just going to be the next layup for him to get further up on those rankings.
I'm just disappointed we didn't see the Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg. That would have been a nice one if I feel but you got to take into account Ulberg hasn't fought in a year. He wasn't a big tear. I think he finished 3 of his last opponents and said that he's been on tear except the loss in the beginning. But he hasn't fought in a year. Simir's coming off a good performance against Johnny Walker, but KOing Johnny Walker is not a tall feat in the slightest.
It's a commonplace.
Yeah. At this point, Johnny Walker just took Ulberg's position as the guy that gets knocked out and moves up the rankings. But speaking of this, I do think Carlos Ulberg will win this one. I think Volkan Oezdemir, he's not as ready to face Carlos Ulberg's power. I don't think. In my opinion, I think Carlos Ulberg is just a guy who just has insane knockout power, insane just lethality, placement, lethality all across his game. Like, obviously he's not amazing at everything, but which goods. I think he can get submission or KO in this. He chooses whichever one way. Basically, just Ulberg or whatever.
When we're looking at this fight, I'm looking at their base styles. Uzdemir is a pressure boxer who doesn't really have a jab, and Olberg is a long sniper striker. He fights in that kind of outstretched arm, almost karate style, waiting for you to come in. And Uzdemir is just going to offer that to him all day. And without a jab, I don't think he can safely get in. When we saw him against Johnny Walker, he kept leaping in for a left hook. And that KO'd Johnny Walker. It also got him caught with a few jabs. He had to take some to actually get those hits off. And if you're going to try to do that against Olberg, you're going to get sniped, and that's not a punch you want to use when the chance of getting sniped is there. I think either first or second round, Olberg's probably going to knock Uzdemir out.
Yeah, I think it's almost in Olberg's favor that Uzdemir did fight Johnny Walker, because if you think about them objectively, they're kind of similar, but Johnny Walker doesn't have as good of a movement like he used to. He is so much more hittable now. Olberg is the exact opposite. He has that good in and out movement, and he's less hittable than Johnny Walker is, as everyone knows.
Mm-hmm. Olberg is also more durable. Uzdemir was getting touched up by Johnny Walker at the beginning. He had to land a few good shots to really turn the tide. At the very start, he was not looking good against Walker. So
that left hook's going to be there to put him out.
Mm-hmm. And left hook by Olberg or right straight, either or. If he's leaping in and his feet are off the ground, I think he's going to get caught.
Yeah.
I was actually rooting for Johnny Walker against Volkan Oezdemir.
I think everyone's rooting for Johnny Walker.
I like Johnny Walker. It's just I wish he wasn't so prone to getting killed.
He needs to move to heavyweight.
Yeah, but he does give us some exciting knockout. So
he's always going to be on
some Jack in the Box type stuff, especially with Jamal Hill.
He should take a year off, build some muscle, move to heavyweight.
I think he should just take a good second off. Like,
I think Johnny Walker asked him was a fight.
He's been.
I'm not talking about that.
I think it's Jose Batista versus Aspinall. That's the fight you made.
Jose Batista?
No. Did I get that right?
Mario Batista.
Mario Batista.
Yeah,
See, I forgot about it.
I'm actually hold up. I'm actually not upset about the robbery. I have money on Mario Batista. I'm not. I do know it's a clear robbery when I was watching the fight. I was jumping for joy, clapping my hands, as a silly little Girl Scout cookie. But that was just he deserves all the hate.
He
And,
does.
and the way he acted against I don't think you saw, but he tried to get a fight with the midget fuck. Triple C, that fuck.
The midget.
that guy.
Which one? You have Marab, we have Cejudo. We got a few midget fucks at that weight class.
He was saying like how he just had a killer performance against a legend, and that their fight is gonna feed families. No one's gonna come in.
Their fight's gonna starve family.
Yeah, something. No one's gonna be like, dude, Henry Cejudo versus Mario Batista. That's a must
Yeah,
watch.
the family is gonna starve his own because no one's gonna watch that shit.
The crazy thing is, Mario Batista was an exciting fighter before.
He literally
this.
killed himself.
You did.
He literally self-sabotaged.
Yeah.
I just honestly, you should have taken that out on your record and made it a dogfight.
Uh-huh.
That would have boosted your name because MMA is
Way more.
It's not like necessarily boxing where you're.
Yeah, and you probably would have had a better chance of quote unquote winning legitimately by just going in the pocket and having a firefight rather than
Mm-hmm.
realizing that he doesn't have balls.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys saw that one very famous clip where the second they get broken up, the ref goes up, which was
Yeah.
fight again.
I watched that shit live.
Uh-huh.
Grip on his nose.
It's crazy. Well, moving on
moving on.
to Yan Xiaonan versus Tabitha Ricci. How do we think this one's gonna go?
I think I'm gonna use the bathroom on this one.
I think he might not have time to use the bathroom. I think Yan is tall compared to Tabitha Ricci. It's 5'5" to 5'1", and the length is going to be a huge factor because of that 1-2. And that 1-2 has been shown to drop almost anyone. And I think if you have that power at strawweight and you have the reach advantage against someone who's mainly a grappler, and they're a decisionator too, it's probably, I don't see it going past the first round. I think it's probably going to be a first round 1-2. She's going to find it, and it's an easy combination to land. The 1-2 is like the first thing that lands. It's going to be there. I think it honestly just, can she take it on the chin? I don't think anyone really can. Besides, obviously, the absolute short beast that
Tank of a woman.
that
Zhang Willie is.
Zhang Willie is. But yeah, I could see her absolutely dropping the Brazilian. Now, can she get caught going down? Maybe, but I see her doing what she's done to everyone else.
I'll be honest. I don't know much about these fighters. The only thing I really know about Yan Xiaonan is, I guess, her last fight against Zhang Willie, and just a little bit behind that. But all I know is that she had a huge quote. The Zhang Willie fight was actually a good fight. She got dropped and almost finished, I think, twice in the first 3
She got
minutes.
finished.
Yeah, sorry. She did actually get slept and she got knocked out in the first 2 minutes, but the fight kept going.
She lost the fight in all 3 ways.
Yeah. That was clear. Same with Tsurukin, but that's another topic. But she was able to bounce back. She had the recovery, and towards the third and the fourth, it looked like a better fight. She actually won a round. Pretty sure it wasn't a 50-45.
Yeah, I think she did win a round. She has a good one too. She was kind of beating Zhang Weili in the striking at moments because of that really good one too. She countered Wang Zhili's leg kicks with her 1-2.
Did they use smelling salts? Do I remember that correctly?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure there was she sniffed something in the corner. Now that I remember in that fight, because I remember after she got slept, there was a questionable.
She didn't
mustache.
decide. She didn't decide. She lived. She lived.
She Conor McGregor it out.
But yeah, no. She's seen much better fighters than Tabitha Ricci. I think if Tabitha Ricci tries to get too aggressive, she might end up like Andrade, getting just slept, like Eli mentioned, or she just gets pieced up on the outside for 3 rounds, and that's the end.
Young Xiaonan performance against Zhang Weili at UFC 300 has brought up conversations surrounding the use of smelling salts in the UFC.
Wait, are they not illegal? They're illegal in boxing.
No, I think they are illegal.
I think they are illegal,
They are.
and it's like a question about whether she did use it or not.
Oh.
Because I'm pretty sure there was. She sniffed something. I don't know what exactly, and I think that's the question. But I know that there was a controversy about whether she did take a good sniff after being choked unconscious.
Yeah, because her bounce back in the third, because she got shit on the second round. But
Yeah.
her quick bounce back from the second to third. That's what part of the reason why I take Yang Jinon in this fight. But
I can believe she was smelling salts, but
yeah, these Chinese people be up to, especially with what's the fucking guy? Not Song Yudong, but there's another Jin in boxing, the fucking big guy, the Big Bang.
Big Bang Zhang.
Yeah, that man has to go steroids. There's no shots.
Okay, so her corner did something for her to recover. She doesn't remember what it is.
Really?
But she was like, I don't know what the cut man was doing, but it's illegal, so I didn't do it.
She didn't do it.
So that's where that goes.
She did the Khalil Ramji. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, yeah.
So I equate this to like probably GSP Vaseline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too.
Okay. Okay. Really, there's not much to say about this fight.
Yeah.
That's- yeah, that Tabitha Ritchie might show something because Yan Jonan doesn't have the best takedown defense, but there's just not much to talk about.
Zhang Nan by smelling salts in the first round.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're all picking Yan Jonan.
Yeah.
We all pick Carlos Olberg. This is the next fight. The main event is the fight for division. We got Figueiredo versus Yan. How are we going? How do we see this fight going down?
Is this is the number one contender after Umar, right?
Yes.
Okay, because Umar's definitely getting the next set of shots. Besides this, I'm pretty sure this is the only fight people are actually gonna watch because, as far as I know, there's no shot people are actually gonna watch other ones. They're at like 3 a.m. for us.
Yeah.
It's bad. But speaking of this, I have Figgy personally. I think Figgy is a better man at 135. I'm not convinced by Peter Young's comeback, especially against Song Yadong. You know, I don't see it. I know Peter Young's still young compared to Figgy, but I think Figgy's 3 wins and the fact that he's been more active at 135 recently is just a perfect lineup for him to go get the shot after.
Eli?
I think this is 50-50. You can go various ways. I might honestly just ask ChatGPT to pick for me because that's how coin flipped I am. I think this fight really goes 2 ways because Jan is the type of guy, he absorbs a lot of information. I call him the Russian computer. He starts to take the fight as the fight goes on, or if you can't figure out his little tiny bits, like Sanhagen, I don't think he really won the first. I don't think he won the first round. I think he pretty much lost all 5.
No, Sanhagen. He won the first round. Then he lost the next 4.
Yes, okay.
But in my opinion, I thought Sanhagen won the first 2 rounds and lost 3, the next 3. But he on the judges' scorecard he lost 1-4.
See, I can see Figueroa having success in the early rounds, but I think if he doesn't put him away, I can see maybe Jan taking him away towards the end. But if Jan can't deal with Figueroa and his power, and he has to use his grappling, I don't think that's going to help him. I think that might even be his downfall, is if he tries to rely on that. Because David Figueroa has no slouch on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to, I just said his name perfectly earlier. Who did you just beat? Jan.
Oh, Jan?
Song
Song
Yadong.
Yadong.
Yeah, he's no Song Yadong. Dude, he is really great jiu-jitsu, and he will put you out. So I think if Jan is forced to wrestle, that's going to be his primarily downfall, because obviously he'd be losing the striking. It's just can he deal with the power, and can he adjust? Is he capable? Completely capable of making those adjustments. To me, this is just a huge coin flip, and it's probably going to take 2 more rotations of y'all talking for me to stick one on the pin.
Okay, so going into the styles of this fight, Figgy at bantamweight has not really impressed me. He's looked low out. He's relied on low output, big power shots, and his wrestling. For his wrestling, he's relied so much on his speed advantage. You look at him versus Rob Font, him versus Cheeto Vera, and him versus Cody Garbrandt. He relies so much on his speed advantage. But yeah, that can win him the first round or so. But I'm not sure if that will allow him to keep the fight. His power is obviously carried up, but ultimately the problem I see is that his pacing. He doesn't seem to have great pacing. Honestly, he he lost the second round to Chito Vera, and I don't rate Chito Vera too highly. And Figgy looked kind of gassed in that round. He came back in the third by dropping Cheeto, but it didn't impress me. And now Peter Yan, he hasn't impressed me recently either. He's lost 3 fights, and then he won against Song Yadong. And in the Song Yadong fight, he did not look like the Peter Yan of old. It looked like he had to struggle. He had to grit out that fight. It didn't look like he figured Song Yadong out. It just looked like he kind of muscled the fight away from Song Yadong. And that is not the Peter Yan that I would rely on. When we're looking at Figueiredo, what he does, he's like I said, speed advantage, going for takedowns. he uses that kind of similar Cejudo karate style of long, his left hand out long, his right hand held back, waiting for you to crash in, and then bashing you with it. Uh, he has good leg kicks, good body kicks, but he's a one and done fighter. He's looking for one big shot. Uh, Jan, on the contrary, kind of has a style that perfectly counters this, a wrestling or a pressure style, pressure boxing style, where he does use his jab and he is defensive, unlike Uzdemir Olberg. He has a style that over the distance, given Figueiredo's gas tank issues, his pacing issues, over the distance, I think Jan can wear him out and kind of beat him like he beat Jose Aldo, finish him in those later rounds where he's worn out, get him on the ground and just smash him. But I can also see in my mind's eye Figgy winning the first two rounds, getting a takedown in that second round, winning it on the scorecards. Second round really close. Jan, the momentum looks like it's going towards him in that third round, and then the fourth, Figgy landing a huge right hand like he did against Cheeto Vera, splitting the guard of Jan and just dropping him, and either taking him down there or just using that to win that round, keep the fourth round close, and taking on the scorecards with Jan unable to finish him in the fifth. It's really hard to decide who's going to win.
I think Figgy's power has only really. I think Figgy's power has only really risen since moving up to 135.
Although his performances against Cheeto Vera was not as the same, but I do still rate his performance against Cody Garbrandt and against Rob Font, because I know Cody Garbrandt is not an impressive win, but I do think Rob Font is an impressive win. And Petr Yan, he's somebody when at his peak he was, in my opinion, destined to be one of the greatest. But that DQ, I think, affected him mentally, and since then he's just been on a downfall spiral. The Song Yadong win, it was definitely a win. I'm not gonna say he shouldn't have won that fight, but for somebody that was on like supposed to be among the greats, to barely squeeze out a win against Song Yadong, who's a journeyman at the time, a journeyman right now, he still can rise in the future. The win could age good, but like you said, I just do see that perfect shot landing, the guard splitting, and then from there the fight just kind of so Petr losing confidence from there, the fight just going one way.
All right. So I did ask ChatGPT, but it was not helpful. They were kind of 50-50 on my end. But it did help me get to where I was going. I think that Jan, he's not big for 135 at all.
No,
If you
no,
think
no.
about it, like he could by all means be a flyweight. So I don't think there's much of a size advantage. If anything, I might be calling Davidson a bit bigger, not height wise, but just pure muscle mass. I think that Jan has yet to fight someone who's good at clinch striking like Davidson is. Like I think of the Marab fight, he was just kind of defending holding, almost like Sandhagen versus Umar. It was more of a wrestler defending holding. Marab's not the type of guy to go for elbows in the clinch. Davidson has taken a much heavier grappling approach towards 135. I mean, he still has the power. He still uses striking, but he uses grappling much more than I ever saw at flyweight. And I can definitely see him using that in the first round. And if he uses it well to tire, like he's been doing to mostly everyone else, and then in the second and third round is just the shoot off. I think he can very much have this. And knowing how he kind of scraped by with Song Yadong, who is also an excellent striker in the pocket, I wouldn't say that Davidson has the same speed or power like Song Yadong has in the pocket. He still has that right hand. I'm probably going to lean towards Davison just because they both have decent striking. I would say Jan's is better, but Jan does not have the power to put away Davidson Figueiredo. He can volume it, but I don't think he's gonna put him away with the volume. I don't see that at all. So I think when it comes down to it, I think the grappling is really going to be the deciding factor, and I think the striking with the grappling is going to be what takes Davidson's win for this. That's who I'm going to stick with. It's not crazy. Like I'm not saying bet the house on Davidson Figueiredo,
Yeah.
but I give him the slight advantage just because I've seen Jan just kind of chill there. He's fought with Sterling. Sterling's not the type of guy to throw punches or elbows in the clinch. Figgy is the type of guy to just try to actually murder you while you're in there. And I think he can definitely put him there because Jan isn't the type of guy who scrambles. He doesn't panic. He's very slow to get off those sides. Hence the Marab fight being kind of taking forever because he will take his time and his patience. And I think Figgy is the type of guy who will damage you during those moments where you're trying to be patient. And the way he is, and I don't want to say slow, but he does start off slow. I don't think you can start off slow against someone who just needs to win.
Uh, I'm leaning Figueredo. I feel like y'all convinced me to kind of lean Figueredo because Jan just has not been looking good. He has good clinching. When you look at his early fights in the UFC, he has his mix of of pretty technical boxing, kind of Soviet style. In some ways, not in like the rhythm, but using some Soviet style guards and such. He has good boxing, and then mixing it with dirty boxing, clinching, and some wrestling to like trips, throwing people down has really messed people up. But I feel like this downward again, his win over Song Yudong did not feel like a resurgence. It felt like he's not losing ground. He just stuck his feet in the sands and said, "I'm not going back. I'm not losing again." But it didn't feel like he was back to himself. If he can find his old self in this fight, I would lean Yon. But given just the mental tax that these last few fights have had on him, I feel like I have to go with Figueiredo, who's probably feeling better than ever after dropping Cheeto Vera.
He's won every fight after coming up.
Yep.
So like he has all the confidence in the world, and he has every right to be. Not that they're like the craziest of winnings, but he's still winning a weight above with the power that you need. Like that's like if he lost the power, like then I can see it. But he's kept all his dangers except for obviously being a bit slower. So he has every right to be where he's mentally.
And Jan's guard, his high guard, is prone to getting split by a straight right. I think Sean O'Malley split his guard a few times with a straight right. So that's not a great weapon or a great defense against Davison, whose main thing is a straight right and a left hook. Those are his main power punches. And he's good at landing them. He only lands one at a time. And if Jan can get this into a kind of
Tit for tat.
yeah, he can overwhelm him with volume and tire him out and kind of get him in that Jose Aldo position where he's too tired to fight back. But honestly, I don't see Jan being able to do that without getting caught by a big one.
Yeah, I think it doesn't work out for him although he takes that first round to really analyze. I think a guy against Davison, you can't. That's a long time to analyze someone who's a power puncher, and then it's someone who he doesn't mind taking it to the ground. If I took this in a grappling match, I'd pick Davison all the way.
Yeah, Jan's a better wrestler, but Davison's jiu-jitsu if you see that it was either the third or fourth Brandon Moreno fight, there was I think Davison goes for a takedown. He gets the takedown. Then they scramble. He gets in a guillotine. They scramble. He tries the submission on Brandon Moreno. Then Moreno backs out. The flyweight grappling is so much different and honestly it feels so much more advanced than the bantamweight grappling.
Because everything at lower weights, speaking just from personal experience, everything's faster. Every grip you take can be lost in any moment by someone speeding out, and every grip you have to have on tight. And I think that is an advantage grappling wise, especially because Jan hasn't.
He's not a jiu-jitsu
He's not a jiu-jitsu guy at all.
He's just a wrestler.
Yeah, and even then, I wouldn't even call it like wrestling. I call it more trips. Like I haven't seen a shot really besides Song Yudong fight, which I mean, taking a shot on Sean Yudong isn't like the greatest thing.
And he shot against Sean O'Malley, but Sean O'Malley doesn't have. We saw in the Marab fight, he doesn't have great takedown.
He does not have great takedown defense. That the twig legs don't help him out at all.
He's trying to hype up his takedown defense way too much in the fight.
Just to end up doing sprawls after he lost in his hotel room, and then to deny that he lost in the first place. But you know, whatever Candyland needs.
That little existential crisis on TikTok and Instagram. Oh god, that was.
Yeah.
The funniest part is that like some people think like he's not actually like tripping in his brain, thinking like he's not joking.
People.
He's not joking.
No.
Bro actually thinks he wins.
He actually thinks he wins.
He won. He actually thinks he won.
I thought it was Subiarsky.
I think he at first he was like, nah, I accept the loss. He wanted to take the high road, and then he rewatched the fight and was like, he tricked himself in his own mind after rewatching the fight.
I think it's just the people he has around him as well.
I
think like even if in himself, I think if he acknowledges a loss, I think mentally as a fighter that might actually take. I think he needs to be delusional to be as good as he is.
Mhm.
That I like. Without that, I don't know. I don't know how well he does.
Which whenever fighters lose, it's like they can go in two ways. It's fighters who can be delusional and strive off of that confidence. If they lose and that ego gets hurt, they fall down, they crumble. We've seen this a lot,
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think
But-
he's taken really the Connor way out. Connor's own delusions.
Oh yeah.
And that being that delusional helps yourself. But John Jones delusional helps yourself. I think he's taking that same route of he's using delusions to help himself and keep that confidence in his brain.
Hey, if he can come back and knock people out, who are we to complain?
Yeah.
I don't want to see them succeed, but there's fun POs to watch.
So, despite the 50 acknowledging it's a 50-50, the betting odds are heavily leaning on.
Oh yeah, Figgy being a plus 250 should tell everybody to go cash in on Figgy. Don't put your house on Figgy, but cash it
Betting
in.
guys, they think logically. Like if they want to think logically, a guy that's a champion at 135 who's just a technical striker and he has takedown ability, versus the guy at 125 who kind of just lost and then switched up because he couldn't beat one guy, but is quote unquote like, scraping by with wrestling. It's just like when you look at it from a basic standpoint of view, probably favorite Jan, but also if you look at Jan objectively right now and now versus where he used to be, then it's completely different.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that good.
And if you take
right
look
now.
at Ferreira where he used to be, there was a time where Figueiredo was god of war.
Mhm.
Now he's just
No
war.
decisions.
Yeah, it's-
He's looked good, but he's just not looked like he used to.
they're both faded versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And Figueiredo kind of just with that speed advantage with his wrestling, just with his jiu-jitsu, he has so many threats for Jan, and Jan can figure him out. Jan can tire him out. It's a 5-round fight, but it's just Jan is a better, more sophisticated fighter. But Figueiredo kind of feels like he has the physical advantages. He's even despite being older, it feels like he has the more.
When's the last time Jan's got a finish?
Jose Aldo?
It's like
Jose Aldo.
did he finish Aldo?
Yeah. He had him on the ground and beat him down. And that's what I meant by he could Aldo Figueiredo. If he tires Figueiredo out enough.
It's been a while. Like I don't think he has the capability when I'm thinking about it to finish him. I think like he's probably in a decision merchant.
Well, he can only finish him if he wears him out enough.
Yeah, and to
really.
do that he has to get down to the guard. I don't think he's gonna. I don't see him going down to the guard. I don't see him putting him out either.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we're all picking Figueiredo. It's a 50-50. We acknowledge that Jan has a good chance, but Figueiredo's looked a little more dynamic as of recently, and that's kind of the story.
This fight would have fed families back in 2021. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, absolutely. If they were both champions, oh my God. Or if Sterling pulled out of the fight again, and then Jan was still the interim champion, and Figgy moved up. Yeah, this would have been a fun.
I still think Figgy can go down and beat Pantoja. I'm being completely honest.
That weight cut is brutal for him.
It is brutal, but I think he's still capable of it. It's like he's the only guy that can knock him down, and I think that mentally just does a lot to it. A lot to him.
Yeah.
Either way, that's not.
That's for another time. Just a quick, let's review UFC 309, all that happened. Starting with at least what I want to start with. Marcus McGee versus, not John Jones, Marcus McGee versus Martinez. Because I got the pick right, but oh my God, why did I get the pick right?
It's just low fight IQ. I mean, that's all it really takes. It's just I don't know how a guy who's finished him with like kicks twice,
Has a man hobbling.
sees a man who deserves a handicap sticker at Busch Gardens, and just decides to clinch and hold him up himself. Like, here you go, Grandpa. Let's cross the cage together, and that's how he lost that fight. Was he capable of winning? Yes. Should he have won? Probably. But did he? No, because he decided to be stupid. And when you decide to be stupid, that's the game you play, and that's how you lose.
Yeah, that's kind of just that's how it was. He had every chance to win at the end, and he threw it away. And he deserves the loss, but also Marcus McGee doesn't feel like he deserves the win.
Nope, it's kind of a lose-lose. Like they both lose a bit of star power from that, and then brain cells, of course.
It's an aura killer.
Uh-huh.
The opposite of the caveman fights.
Yes, exactly the opposite of
Or
Ubo.
Mixing back with old boy and
Matus Rebecki.
That's the guy.
It's the opposite of that. Where it felt like either guy could have won, and they both put everything into it, and it didn't feel like either guy really looked worse for it. But the next fight to go over or to review, Chandler versus Oliveira. It went 5 round, guys. Who could have expected that?
Anyone that realized that Chandler would do a lot of cheating.
God, he is a
I don't
dirty
know how
rat.
anyone.
fuck.
I don't know how. Like I forgot about that. Like his last fight was losing to Poirier, and he did cheat a decent chunk in that one as
He
well.
blew his snot, blood snot into Poirier's face, and Fitch choked him several times.
I don't think there's been a single fight where Chandler has not cheated in the UFC.
Justin Gaethje.
Hooker.
Well, no, the Hooker fight just ended. Like, he didn't even
Yeah.
cheat against Hooker because Hooker is, took it in 3.
Yeah, it was like 20 seconds, 22 seconds.
He was pretty fast.
Did he? Did he cheat against Tony Ferguson? Did he grab the glove?
He didn't have to.
I don't
Tony
know.
Ferguson hold. He didn't cheat against Tony Ferguson or Dan Hooker because those 2 fights were just murders. I know Tony Ferguson had a better
Tony
fight.
Ferguson much better. He even knocked him
Yeah.
down.
He didn't. In general, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
But compared to, like, say, because
Against the top brass.
yes, because he got choked out by Dustin Poirier. He got knocked out by what's it called? By Oliveira in the first, and then he somehow made it to what was it? No, it was a 5 round fight against Gaethje.
He's just the
It
company
was a 3
weirdo.
round.
He's the company weirdo to think about. He got knocked out by the submission guy. Then he goes to a decision with the most exciting guy ever, and then gets subbed by the knockout guy. And then after Charles becomes the most exciting guy ever, and like the most finishing guy ever, from tearing through everyone, and after tearing through Chandler, he takes him to a decision. He just does the ending of the fight is the exact opposite of what you'd always expect it to be. Like you didn't expect Justin Gaethje to take this. You weren't expecting Poirier to submit Chandler. No. You don't expect that. You didn't expect Charles Oliveira when he first got there to knock out Chandler. No. He loses in the ways that you don't expect him to.
Yeah. That's actually a good way to put it. He has a horseshoe up his ass solely for losing in the weirdest way possible.
It's Chandler's a character because
It's not like he had a good performance either. It's like he got ragdolled for 4 rounds.
He looked terrible.
Yeah, and then the 5th round he looked good by cheating, and then he decided to not suplex. He decided to just jump up and land on his back.
Yeah.
And I mean, that looks fun, but when you look at it competitively, that does nothing for you.
Yeah, it does nothing. I think he knew he lost. That's
Yeah.
why you can see him saying, fuck it. He knew he lost. And now when you think about it, it's exactly that point. Is you're talking about it right now. When you look at that fight and look at the reels, that's on there.
Yeah.
Chandler did that for that main reason. If he knew he lost, he's not getting that title fight. People know him for doing this dumb shit, and that's all he's probably going to end up his career as being, because I doubt he's going to get another chance for a title. Maybe he's waited 2 years, and he's not coming back to it. So you might as well get the money fights. And how you get the money fights? By being dumb and doing exciting shit. And what does he have to do after cheating his way and still losing? Being dumb and doing exciting shit. Now, during that sequence, I'm surprised that Oliveira decided just to chill and hold on and didn't go for that rear naked choke, because that was there all day. Chandler just didn't give a shit. But I think Oliveira also with the knee injury, and I think was probably trying not to get his glove held again. He's probably just pissed. He's like, fuck it, I'll take the 15 seconds in the bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a good fight. It was the best fight on the card.
Oh, by all.
yeah.
It was the people's main event.
Yeah. Chandler's a dirty rat fuck, and Oliveira goes for a title shot again. Yay! Will he win?
Who knows, to be honest? Because, to me, that first Islam fight, people overrate so much. Like, oh, he got dominated. But realistically, if I look at that fight in the first round, there wasn't a lot of damage done on either party. And technically, the most damaging strike was an Oliveira upkick by the end. Like, he took him down, but he wasn't absolutely mauling with ground and pound. He won the fight just by chilling there and wrestling.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything crazy happened in the first round. And what led to the finish was poor IQ, in my opinion. It was a flying knee from across the universe.
Yeah.
So to me, that wasn't domination. One dumb mistake led to what comes next.
Yeah.
Islam did good defensively, and he countered Charles with some winging hooks.
I still think Islam's striking is a little overrated, but
I think it is good,
I
and
think
he
it's
can
good too.
handle his own, but it is not striker quality. It is enough to handle being their strikers, but I think if you had that Poirier match and he didn't, I don't want to say give up with the Darce, because they were both tired. But I think if that fight stayed on the feet, Poirier would have took it. Because I would say that's probably the worst version of Islam we've seen yet. was that Poirier fight.
I thought his strike, that was the best striking.
That's the
we've
best
seen.
striking we've seen, but to me, he's still that fight was so winnable for Poirier.
It
Because
was.
the thing is, this was arguably, I think, besides the first bulk fight, this was Islam's hardest challenge at 155. Besides the loss, obviously too. But when you look at it that way, could it be that Islam just looked bad, or did Dustin Poirier look good?
I think his grappling and wrestling were well improved. I think where Islam kind of shined the most. One thing about Islam, he is fast. He is so fast. And one thing where his striking really shone was the clinches. He's a really good clinch fighter. That's kind of, but when he's at distance, he's not a. I think his striking's a little overrated at distance, and his and I think he gets a lot done due to the constant threat of the takedown.
Yeah, like kind of how I don't want to say kind of how Beam knocked McGregor, but like in the fact of because I think Islam striking is better than Beef's by far.
Islam striking is way
But
better.
the point being of having the wrestling threat automatically makes your striking better, unless you're Bo Nickel, of course. Then that changes completely. But if you are
Bo Nickel
champion
terrible.
caliber, it'll make your striking better. If you're an NCAA wrestler who's been gifted, then it's not.
Mhm. Ultimately, I think Oliveira has a chance against Islam.
Just due to his finishing potential, but
For me, Charles Oliveira, if he loses a round, it's like I'm not that surprised at it. He's not a guy where he'll win every single round. He's, in my opinion, looks more dangerous in a losing position.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes in BJJ, losing position is a winning position. But if we're talking about the second rematch, I do think Islam will still win unless Charles Oliveira can get lucky and Islam just slips up. Because Islam did slip up against Dustin Poirier a couple of times.
yeah.
There were a couple exchanges where I generally thought Dustin Poirier could get not lucky, but could get a finish there.
Yeah.
And if the thing is, if the same thing happens with Charles Oliveira will get the finish as compared to Dustin Poirier, who cannot complete the finish.
I think for me, you have to see Saryugan. I think Oliveira has a better chance of winning than Saryugan does. But I think I've only seen better from Oliveira from here. Like, I don't count the Saryugan fight as anything but like a 3-round sparring match. That should have been 5 rounds. It was meh in all accounts. But I just see Charles improving. I see the wrestling. Like, it's just, I see patience as well.
Yeah.
I think he's starting to be what Justin Gaethje was when he had the controlled chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And I like seeing that more because he is a grappler at heart. I think he starts people, and then he started getting a little bit too carried away.
He definitely fell in love with his striking and his power.
And then I see learning from that in the Chandler fight.
Mm-hmm.
But on to
The embarrassment of the night.
the criminal. I
Yeah.
guess I'll say.
We should listen to his charges.
Jones got away with the greatest theft in UFC history.
What confuses me the most is I think most MMA fans, actual MMA fans, know in their heart before this fight that this does nothing for Jones.
No.
But then after it happened, I saw even more glazing than I thought I would see. Like I felt like some people, for some reason, changed their mind. Which, for me, if you're an MMA, like if you know anything and you saw that, that does nothing.
It does less than nothing. Jones looks worse.
The only thing that I could equate to being somewhat impressive is the fact that he could spin without tearing an ACL. That's the only thing that you can maybe give. But it's old man Stipe and like old man Stipe. Like I don't know what anyone expects. And you can arguably say old man Stipe did pretty well. And Jones was scared. It's not like Jones walked in there and absolutely killed him like he was Matt Hamill. He just landed a little shot. Oh, there goes Stipe, and it's like it was nothing too crazy. It's nothing that anyone to chirp about. Like beating Cyril Gane again to me would have done more because it just did nothing. The guy was absolutely outpulled by the previous champion, who did it faster than you in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that do? You've beaten both the guys the champion before you had already done. I'll admit the first one in technically more impressive fashion, although I think God didn't take it seriously at all. You could see by his face when he got submitted. But it does nothing for you.
Yeah. I think the problem with that is a lot of John Jones' fan base is fans that are new to the UFC and don't really understand how the UFC works, especially like interim belts and legacies. Because they're coming in, they see a name like John Jones, he's titled as the greatest of all time. Naturally, they're gonna hop on that bandwagon, and then they see although as much as I do hate John Jones, that was a very stylish and a very nice TKO. Because I'm pretty sure it fractured his ribs, and it's
it's I think it damaged his liver as well.
Mm-hmm.
It caused some internal damage. It was pretty bad. It wasn't an nasty KO, but like you said, the entire fight, just John Jones, he looked like he had the upper hand, but not by domination that people make it out to be. Honestly, him getting tagged by Stipe Miocic moving at point 0.5 speed just shows that shows that John Jones is washed. He is not. He cannot compete. He was trying to call out people like Alex Pereira and Derek Lewis. Honestly, at this stage, of
And
his
Jamal
career,
Hill.
yeah, at this stage of his career, those fights are not as favorable as he seems on as
And
he
it's
likes
not
it
his
to be.
part. It's not even Derek Lewis when he was ranked in like the top 5.
No.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's not the Derek. Not that he was great then. It was still his
Yeah.
right hand land, but like
Batman rolls.
he's literally like scraping the bottom right now. Like it's just he knows what he's doing. Like and the fact that some people are actually like delusioned by the fact of like thinking he's not ducking or not. He obviously doesn't want to fight the guy. He knows the risk to take, and people are like talking about, oh, it's so ridiculous. But they forget that like everyone he's fought, besides the people that he's mainly struggled against, took those risks. He fought the older generation. That was mainly a lot of his title run until he got to the people that were same age and struggled tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
The only person who really came back and showed that he was better than was Gustafsson in the second fight.
Who
Besides
also
that,
was on a bad run, honestly.
exactly, he only really got there in the first place because of how well he did in the first place.
Mhm.
And after that, you have struggle against Thiago Santos. I mean, he did destroy Anthony Smith. You know what I mean? And he technically could have lost that. Anthony Smith could have Aljamain stormed his way, but you know that guy's not the type of guy to do that. And then we all know he lost the freaking race.
Yeah.
And then DC was much older than he was.
Mm-hmm.
He was
And
38-40. 38-30.
so like now it's the reverse, and it's your turn to show that as a legend that what you can do. It's just you know in your heart that he's knows. And John Jones, I thought this was a great point. John Jones is a huge tape studier. We like that's a common thing about him. And the thing about Aspinall is you have 2 minutes. He's never gone past 6. Or you don't have a lot of tape to study. And I think all that combined, that's the scary thing for John Jones. A guy that can absolutely put you out. He's barely in fight time. You don't have much to look at. He's great on the ground as well. He knows everything, and he's just trying to set sail in the sunset. But because he knows his name. Like if you say a casual name besides McGregor, I think the second people are going to know John Jones.
Yeah. And John Jones didn't want to fight Chael Sonnen. Prime John Jones didn't want to fight Chael Sonnen on short notice because he's such a diligent tape studier that he didn't want to risk that. Yeah, the fact that Aspinall doesn't have a lot of tape on him is definitely a factor.
He fought Chael Sonnen. That's on his record for like a title defense.
Yeah.
Like Chael Sonnen. That, like who?
And he
who in their
denied
right
the
mind-
short. He denied the short notice.
Yeah, and who in their right mind thinks like that's like a good defense?
If we're talking about his defenses, like old man named Lyoto Machida, Shogun Rua, Rampage Jackson, like you said, Chael Sonnen, and DC, those 5 out of his, I think, 11 title defenses, right? No, 8 title defenses in total, right?
Yeah, definitely not 11.
Yeah,
No,
11
he-
is DJ. No, 11 is DJ. I think Joe
11
Jones
is
is 8.
DJ.
Joe Jones has 8
Oh,
title defenses.
in his first run, yeah.
Yeah, and like, shit, out of those 8, 5 of those are looking into the age of retirement. He was their retirement fight essentially.
Mhm.
Like, and then outside of that, you see Dominic Reyes lost. Anthony Smith, it's Anthony Smith. Only goes so far. Because, and then you already mentioned other fights. Gustafsson won good fight.
Those were
Like,
competitive
domination.
fights. Like when you think about it, the Lyoto Machida fight, he only really won that after the adjustment by his coach
Yeah.
to throw those elbows out, feinting those kicks. Like if the obviously if he didn't listen to his coach, but they were still competitive fights. Vitor Belfort practically tore up his entire arm, never made it the same. Granted, it was a juice to Vitor Belfort, but in the same factor, like it's not. It's just
He dominated a prime Glover Teixeira. I will say that.
true. It's just Glover's an interesting. He's probably the most odd outlier case in the fact that he looked better as he got older.
He figured out ways to outfox younger guys, but against John Jones, he was on a tear before John Jones, and then he got dominated by John Jones, and then he got knocked out by Gustafsson. But yeah, I rank a lot of John Jones's wins pretty well. The main thing is he obviously doesn't want. When you look at other legends from other sports, Muhammad Ali fought prime fighters until he literally had brain damage. Like noticeable brain damage, Parkinson's. John Jones,
Is the modern day MMA Floyd fucking Mayweather.
And
Yeah.
like, don't even get me started what Mike Tyson just recently did.
Mhm.
So obviously, like at certain points, John he knows. He just refuses to do it. And I don't know why anyone thought this would be like a surprise. Working with John Jones in any shape or fashion, he just does dumb shit, and he's never been the guy to like prove someone wrong or anything the best. Like if he really wanted to, he could have rematched Reyes if he was
Yeah.
that. Like he could have. There's so many things he could have done that he's obviously chosen not to because he doesn't want to. The dude doesn't care. He'll take his one way of winning.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason he fought DC again is because he had the title. He wouldn't have fought DC again otherwise. And he popped. It was just he's just awful in all ways, shape, or form.
He should not be the GOAT. My GOAT is DJ.
That's either
Yeah.
DJ or GSP for me.
I like GSP. He's Canadian. Although DJ's technicality is just beautiful. That's his just. His
Yeah,
setups,
honestly, I think if you, because they're both good at mixing things up, but honestly, DJ didn't have a Matt Serra. Although, like, you could technically look at the
Cejudo.
Cejudo fight, but even then that was close, and you could honestly argue for either or on that fight versus getting put out by Matt Serra.
He also couldn't really compete at 135 like GSP could compete at middleweight.
True, but that was a Michael Bisping, and DJ fought Dominic Cruz while working as a construction worker.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge difference.
Very big difference. Very big difference. But yeah, no, John is a disgrace to the sport, in my opinion. He has a mixed legacy, and the only thing I found impressive about this fight was the fact that John went back to being creative. He had given up being creative for so long, but this was such a setup fight that he decided to be creative again.
I think he just had the freedom to be creative because it was such an easy fight.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He could be creative, and
Yeah.
he got that take. He threw Stipe to the ground, got that takedown, rained some vicious elbows. We got to see classic John Jones viciousness again, and then the spinning back kick. He was really creative. He looked terrible. He looked shit. But he was creative.
Just like if anyone in the brain, you know what he's doing. Because I don't like Aspinall. Aspinall's an asshole. Aspinall called him out in the most nice call out I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah.
In any way, shape, or form to someone who I don't think I'd ever speak nice to in any shape or form. Like John Jones is arguably one of the worst fighters history-wise when it comes to just being a person.
Didn't he literally say, "I respect you, John, but I just think I'm better"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, that was it.
The fact that John Jones runs from even the mention of Aspinall's name. You saw the interview where he met a British guy and the
He
second
thought he was British. No.
Yup.
Get that done because he knows and he knows he's doing it.
Yeah.
Like he knows he's playing off. He made a freaking duck his Instagram profile with a championship belt around it. It's just the worst part is he's delusional enough to think that Aspinall needs him. Nobody. He wants the belt that's around your waist. If
Yeah.
anyone else was holding that belt, he would fight whoever's holding that belt.
Mhm.
You want to be calling for John Jones because if you looked at John Jones as a heavyweight champion objectively, I don't rank him anywhere high. I
No.
still put Stipe above him.
Oh, yeah,
Heck,
yeah.
I might
He
even
still
put
goes.
DC above him.
DC's
That's
a better
big.
heavyweight.
I think this is a better heavyweight.
I still put Ngannou above. There's not
I do too.
I
Cain
don't-
Velasquez.
Yeah, both.
like he is.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock
It
Lesnar.
just does nothing
Mhm.
for him at all, and him pretending like if he did that, then I think I'd rank him really high in the heavyweight because Tom Aspinall's probably one of the most complete heavyweight fighters you've ever seen. You act like he's not a threat, and then just like what is Pereira does nothing for you.
Yeah, no.
Because his call out was he called out Pereira, he called out Derek Lewis, and then it was somebody else. But he did not call it a single.
Hill.
Jamal Hill. He did not call it a single rising heavyweight. He didn't call out Pavlovich. He didn't call out Volkov. He didn't obviously call out Aspinall. He didn't call out there was one more. Who is this?
I don't know.
I can't tell you, but calling out Derek Lewis is all you really need to know.
Yeah.
Oh, Jilton Almeida.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone knows. You call out Derek Lewis, that enough should tell you enough about where John Jones is.
Mhm.
Where he's at, like as far as integrity.
Actual Lewis.
Yeah.
He's 14, right? Right now in the rankings.
I think he's barely scraping by. So if he's not 14 or 15, he's not even ranked.
Hold on, I actually want to know this. He's calling out Derek Lewis. Let me see what rank he is. Derek Lewis is ranked number 10 in the heavyweight rankings.
That's too high.
That is too high. He should not be. He should be 14.
That is not only too high, but technically that wouldn't be the lowest down the rankings someone's fought in the championship, it would be Michael Bisping fighting number ranked 11 Dan
Yeah.
Henderson.
What about Kaya Sakura getting, his title shot being
All right.
his debut being a title shot? But I don't know if this is Pantoja protection or this is genuinely because Flyweight's dead.
I think
It's because Flyweight's dead.
I think they're just kind of throwing someone at him for the most part. I mean, they have
Yeah.
people that they can put back. Like you have Kai Kara France,
Kayasakura is also a star in Japan. He is a
True.
huge name,
but
and
he's a huge name Japan wise, but not a lot like
Yeah.
US wise. Like if I think of like
they want the Japanese market.
But the thing is, half of Kaya Sakura's most deadliest weapons are illegal.
Yeah,
yeah, and then like not only that, like you translate that, and the fact that there's not that great flyweights in Japan.
I mean, they're smaller. They're kind of.
And see, like this, like
And Risen just in general is not
and
really
this
known
guy's
for high level
lost to
grapplers.
Mental Cape, Mental Cop,
Yeah.
Yeah, Manel Cape.
which he hasn't aged at all well.
No,
No. Oh my
Manel
god.
Cape has disappointed me in every fight he's had, except the Dos Santos fight.
Yeah, which even then Dos Santos showed like that was one of the fights where I thought the guy losing showed a lot more than
Yeah.
anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So he hasn't been exactly an aging win. So to me, this is just I would have rather seen like Kai Kara France get the title shot in Alonso. Not that I'm disappointed. This is exciting. The UFC does beat this a lot, but like there's some decent. And then if Moreno didn't just absolutely deny one of the rising guys, you know, what I mean, you could put Moreno back in there. But yeah, it's there's not a lot going on right now.
There's not.
Yeah.
Flyweight's dead, and this is their way to shake it up.
Yeah.
If Pantoja loses, which I like Pantoja, but I'm kind of hoping
I
he
just goes
loses.
all the way from heavyweight down to flyweight.
Yeah, but yeah, I like Pantoja. I'm hoping he loses though because we need some interest back in flyweight. But to end it off, we all agree John Jones is a criminal who should no longer be in the UFC.
After ran with a pregnant lady, you should have been done.
Yeah. As far as charges go, abuse, domestic abuse, hit and run a pregnant lady, drug abuse. I think he was assaulting cops, drunk driving. I think how many? At least double digits at this point. Cocaine. Yeah, cocaine. The list just goes on and on and on. At this point, he's more of a convict than an actual UFC fighter.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has more arrests than most champions on title defenses.
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, we forgot to mention the worst part about John Jones: the fact that Dana keeps gargling his balls.
Oh my fucking
But-
god. Dana White has said the next Dumbass is getting title shots.
You guys know that John Jones is the greatest pound for pound fighter in the world. Anyone walks out in the room,
He shouldn't be in the pound for pound rankings.
His best wins in the modern era are Gon, who is a
One-dimensional.
wet dream for Jones, and Stipe, who is
not a fucking UFC fighter. I don't. Stipe is not a fighter anymore. Stipe was retired for the fight. He still is retired. He was retired during the fight. He was not a UFC fighter.
No.
He was not. No. He's.
Okay, that's the Fight Night Podcast.
Yeah.
Signing off.